Welcome to MANN-O-LOGUES. I'm Dr. Sundra Mann, the creator and host. MANN-O-LOGUES is where life and leadership converge. Enjoy the journey and thank you for listening to MANN-O-LOGUES. Welcome to MANN-O-LOGUES. My name is Dr. Sundra Mann. I am the creator and host of MANN-O-LOGUES. MANN-O-LOGUES is the convergence of life and leadership. Through thoughtful conversations that discuss the pivotal moments that shape us and form our leadership DNA, I'm hoping that you will be informed, inspired, and impacted to keep moving forward. My guest today is Professor Cathy House. Professor House is an expert in entrepreneurship and in business. She has built a career and a life over the last 30 plus years, weaving in and out of business ownership and teaching the skills of entrepreneurship to university students at both the undergraduate and graduate level. Welcome, Professor House.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is quite an opportunity.
Yes. So as you've spent 3+ decades in entrepreneurship, most recently teaching at Howard University, shout out to the HBCUs.
You know.
As well as some time teaching business courses at Strayer University. You have been a business owner with both your husband. You have modeled entrepreneurship for your family. And you currently have several thriving businesses that you are working on.
Yes.
So some would call you a serialpreneur.
Yes. Quite a few of my mentees say just that.
Yes. So talk to us about why entrepreneurship.
I am passionate about entrepreneurship, and I have a strong belief that it is one of the main components that will bridge the gap and build wealth for us as African Americans. And I often tell myself and others, if it takes me a lifetime, it's well worth it.
So what was the moment when you decided that entrepreneurship was your thing?
When I got tired of getting laid off.
Oh.
Or ending up without a job.
Yes.
For whatever reasons, companies being bought out, somebody doesn't like me, new supervision, new managers, whatever the case may be. And it came to me that how can I build a life of stability if I'm always facing a threat of losing income? My dad was in real estate and built at the height of his real estate career outside of carrying mail full time. He was a mail carrier. He basically owned 25 residential properties and said that you could never be rich working for someone. That was like his motto. You can never be financially independent working for someone.
Yes.
And that's how he sent all three of us through college, and I'm the youngest of three.
Amazing.
I have two older sisters.
Amazing. What a great lesson to learn from your parents at an early age.
Yes. And so I saw when my older sister, when he said turn to college, he would borrow, pay it back before she had to go back. My middle sister, it was much easier. Mm-hmm. But when I came along, he basically gave me a blank check.
Wow.
So this guy, as far as I'm concerned, he always had money. He always had money. I was like, this is really cool.
Yes.
Yes.
So when we think about financial literacy and we think about the state of our current economy and so many Americans, especially so many Americans of color, who are at the poverty line,
yes,
who are living below their earning potential, to have that life lesson early on, how has that inspired you to become a professor of entrepreneurship and business practices?
Well, the children were little. Candace wasn't even born. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom. And I saw what she did for us by being there, even though my sisters and I are first generation educated, college educated. So their main thing was to make sure we were college educated, but it was the morals and the values and the quality time that she poured into us that I didn't know how it was all going to come together, but I cherished that time and didn't buy into my ambition of, I had this ambition of becoming a CEO. So it was like eventually, you know, corporate wasn't working out. So I'll be a CEO of my own or what have you. So Howard came along because the schedule fit in with me being a mom. I could still be there for the kids without working 50, 60 hours someplace.
Yes.
And back when I was in corporate, this work-life balance was non-existent.
No.
You bet not bring up you gotta go get your child and or you gotta get ready for a birthday party. You were frowned upon and put in some category that you just was not a team player. And I saw that, and then when I went into commercial lending after graduate school and would go driving with some of the commercial managers, they were all divorced, and they were telling me, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't put in all this time with corporate. And I thought, ooh, and they were just sad.
Yes.
And I'm like, why come you can't have it both? You may not be able to have it all at the same time.
Yes.
But why not? Why can't I have it both? So Howard came along because I wanted something to fit in with the kids. And so I tapped into my network of relationships with the dean of Clark Atlanta University, where I received my master's in business. Yeah. And he basically was like, go up there to Howard. And so I did. And I basically waited until the dean was available and told him he needed me. And I was like, you need me.
I love
and
that.
nodding.
I love it. You
really do. He was like, yeah, we need you. So that's how it happened.
I love that. I love that. So what I hear is you had a need.
Right.
But you also had a solution for yourself.
Yes.
Right? So you didn't wait for someone to give you a solution.
No, that's never been me.
You went and found a solution.
Yeah.
You networked through your relationships.
Right.
And you were able to communicate your value proposition.
Right.
I love that.
And at the time that I did just what you said, Howard University had just won a grant with the Kauffman Foundation. And they were ready to staff it.
Yes.
And they needed someone to basically design a course which happened to be entrepreneurship marketing. So the timing was perfect. As he was nodding, he was like, you could design this school. You could be a part of the team as far as curriculum. And so that's how it all began.
So to be there from the ground up, doing something as innovative.
Yes.
Right? So you were there from the moment it really launched.
Yes. Entrepreneurship was not in higher ed. Howard University won that grant with Kauffman in 2003. It was funded in 2005. I was hired in 2005 in the first quarter, brought on to basically design the first course. And we were on the cutting edge with Babson back then. So yes, I was on the cutting edge. I'm the only one left to this date in the School of Business that was with the first grant and so forth.
That is amazing. That is, you were blazing the trail then.
Didn't know it.
And you're still blazing the trail. I love that. I love that. Many years ago when I started my second career in education, I started first as a special education teacher, but then I transitioned to use my background in business and I became a business teacher. And one of the courses I taught was entrepreneurship. Right, okay. And for my high school students.
Wow.
So had I known then or been in tune that there was a university major coming in entrepreneurship, I would have directed my folks, go to Howard. Yeah,
and basically it was spread, it was offered to all 12 schools at the time. I basically was responsible for creating and spearheading the Planning the Entrepreneurship Venture, which was a Kauffman product at the time. But it went across all 12 schools. Wow. So if you were a student at Howard University during that time, as a part of your tuition, you got this free course. And that course I taught online when online was really just coming on board. Yes.
I think that's amazing because I'm thinking about other majors, right? So if you're going to school to become a physician, you need to not only know the medical side, but you need to know how to run a practice.
That's exactly right. And they have the technical, the skill.
Yes.
But when you talk about the business, and I literally did a presentation for the medical school at Howard University, and you should see their eyes. I mean, it's to add that business part is a total different acumen.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. I love it. I love it. So what did you discover about yourself when you were making that leap? So you went from this corporate background, you went to Purdue,
Yes.
you went to Clark Atlanta, you were on this trajectory to kind of follow that blue chip Fortune 500 pathway,
Yes.
right?
Yes, definitely.
But life happened.
Right.
And you saw an opportunity to pivot and do something different.
Right.
What did you learn about yourself in that early stage?
I've always had this attitude, just, Nike, just do it. And me being the youngest, my mother would just get out of my way. She would always say, I'm not going to stand in your way, because I was always coming up with something crazy to do. But I'm fearless. Yeah. Nothing's impossible. And then growing my spirituality, my faith in God really just kind of just impacted that whole thought process. Yeah. So, but when I get an idea, sometimes I think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yes.
And then being patient and prayerful that it's going to come. Yes. But, never knowing how long. Yes. So I would say I've learned about patience. Mm-hmm. I learned about faith. Yes. I learned that, God puts people in your pathway that you are clueless, that you never knew that could help develop this idea. Yes. So being open-minded to all of that, yeah. I would say. And being aware and alert of all of your surroundings, because you just never know where your blessings are going to come from. A lot of my blessings have come from the students at Howard, mm-hmm. and so forth. They'll say, that professor down the hall, y'all have a similar personality and teaching style. I need to get to know each other. I'm like, no, come, let's go meet them now. So, I mean, it's just been a blessing, a growth, a journey. It's always endless.
I like that. Patience, people,
faith,
perseverance, and prayer.
Right, prayer.
I had to do the 4 P's.
Okay, the 4 P's. Okay, I see what you were doing there. Okay.
I love it. I love it. Wonderful. So you have raised 3 thriving adults. 3. At this point.
Yep.
You and your husband have raised 3 thriving adults.
That's right.
Who are doing their thing.
Doing their thing. Hallelujah.
But during that time, you all were running a business and also had outside careers and all the family responsibilities. Yeah. How did all that come together?
Oh my God. When I think back, and we had in the house clothing store, mm-hmm. at 14th and U. Mm-hmm. We managed our church's bookstore back then. Mm-hmm. And we had the marketing business, and no kids. Then Joshua came along. We just did it. We didn't even question how to do it. We just did it. Whatever made sense. Playpens, tote the playpens in and out, and playpen at the bookstore, playpen at the clothing store, or what have you. We just did it. But it was a lot of fun. I always incorporated students. Yes. Because I wanted it to be a learning environment. Mm-hmm. I hired Howard University students when they were there. Some of them were from my hometown, Indianapolis, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And they would work, and I would provide, that was part-time money for them to have pizza or what have you. They would give me ideas. Mm-hmm. We would turn the clothing store into like a back then, it's called something different now, but it was where poetry could be told, mm-hmm. and so forth. Yes. We clear the clothes off, and because the students at Howard at that time, I did surveys, you name it, I did it. And it was like, a lot of times our businesses look a little downtrodden. They said, we need to have a business we feel proud of. So I make sure it looked like a mall store, mm-hmm. and so forth, and something that students would want to come to. So once a month we would have entertainment and whatever, and they would invite all their friends over. So I would have high school students, college students, so the college students could basically inspire the high school students that this is your next step to go to college and so forth. But we just did it and let the students be a part of the creativity of what should be next, I would say. But didn't think twice. Probably the biggest thing was managing cash flow to make sure we had enough to buy the clothes and things of that nature. That's always an issue, and tends to always be an issue with us as a people, I would say.
I love that. So I hear some intergenerational leadership that you were heavily involved in. So not only were you thinking about your own family, but you were forward thinking about how to be a blessing to other families.
Always.
Right? I love
Always.
that. And then you truly were integrating life, leadership, entrepreneurship all together. So it was a matter of not even questioning that these were separate things. They had to be intertwined.
Right. And thinking outside the box, always thinking that I could do it, regardless of what the statistics say. You know, okay, the statistics say this, but me and God, we're going to do this thing.
That's right.
So, yes.
That's right, a determined spirit.
Yeah, always.
Yes.
If my mother was living today, she would probably, she cloned me as a go-getter, even when I was little. You know, Cathy's a go-getter. You know, she would just let me just go.
So have that freedom and that innovation. So how are you, and I know about the way that you parent that way.
Yes.
So why is that freedom and innovation and encouraging natural curiosity important to you?
My mother would say you need to expose your children. She always said exposure is key. And I never forgot a lot of things that she said. So, you know, Joshua was the guinea pig. So if you can imagine a body of water, we would just throw Joshua out there. And for some reason with his personality, he would just start swimming, you know, and his biggest asset is his personality. And he would figure it out. And then Michael was more conscientious and was, let me see what Josh's going to do. And would kind of stay behind and so forth. And Candace was looking at both of them like they were crazy. So, you know, that's the big deal. Anything that was unusual that I thought was an opportunity or an asset that would take them to the next step or basically give them a cutting edge over and above their peers or whatever, or the population, no matter what the demographic was, then I'm looking into it. So that was probably instilled within them. So then they would come home with, I want to do this. And as they grew older, their desires was bigger than mine. And so I had to remember what my mother would say to me when I would come up with the bright ideas that was out of the box. She would say, I'm not going to stand in your way. So that's what I would have to say to them. I'm not going to stand in your way. Study abroad in middle school. Study abroad in college. You know, staying with host families that I don't even know a clue, but I gotta take the referral from the program that it's all right. And so and praying my way through it, especially my husband, he was like, you know, anything that was a little bit crazy, I'm behind it.
I love that. And truly, Josh is a Renaissance man in a millennial body.
He is. He ain't got it in gone now.
But those life lessons that you inherited from your parents have manifested in your own children, right? So they are young homeowners. They are educated, well educated, and they have entrepreneurial spirits. So I love that.
And a lot of that entrepreneurial spirit was just as soon as they could walk. We had them in entrepreneurial programs. They were a part of Black Enterprise Kidpreneur program. Josh got featured with George Frazier at an early age. You know, we had all the magazines all over the house. They even taught one of my classes at Howard. As Candace may have been like 5 or 6. Joshua was like maybe close to 9, and Micah was maybe 8. And they were into Webkins. And they were really into it. So I said, well, that's an entrepreneur right there. They came up with this idea, and Candace had the most. And if you didn't continue to buy one, then they would die or whatever. I was like, oh, see, that's where they get you ready right there. And so they collected. I said, okay. And it was a summer class. Had about 6 students. And I said, I want you guys to come teach it. and you're going to do industry analysis, and you're going to do marketing, and whatever. And I broke it down, and I had them present.
Yes.
And the students they lost it. They were like, no way, no way, and so forth. So they've been a part of the initial Eli Institute, the boot camps there, and presented their business ideas. Okay. So at a very young age, because I wanted them to understand that yes, you may work for corporate, but you're brilliant, and so you're going to come up with ideas. And you're to journal them, and somehow that corporate job is going to help you launch that idea.
That affirmation of their identity,
right,
their leadership ability, and planting those seeds at an early age is phenomenal. Especially when you think about you don't know where your children will go, right? So they might go to institutions that don't necessarily serve them. Right? They may go to these corporate jobs that see them as invisible. But that affirming of giving them the confidence to go out into the world and be unstoppable. That's pretty amazing. And through God, all things are possible. I'm very blessed that I don't have to give them a call and say, "Are you going to church today?" I mean, they're racing to church just like I am, and I'm very proud of that. But I believe, at an early age, different than maybe a lot of their peers, they look at life totally differently. Yes. They look at life as, okay, how am I going to what am I going to pick and choose that will highlight me as an individual? And so forth. And one of the things also my mother would say, watch what your children gravitate to and then nurture that. And so forth. That's what she did with all three of us, and that's what I did with my three. So to be able to have the agency to navigate the world through your own lens and perspective, and be able to select what you get involved in and what you don't, many people don't have that. And so the other lesson that I hear is that before you were nurturing leaders outside of the house, you were nurturing a family of leaders inside the house.
Yes. I believe it all starts at home.
Yes.
How can you need to be an example of what you teach, what you preach, what you speak. And so, and I don't want to be a hypocrite.
Yes.
I feel like you meet my children, that's an extension of me. You don't really have to meet me. I'll sit in the background. But being an example, to me, is very important to leadership. I learned from one of my managers in banking in Houston, Texas. I was a branch manager of the bank. And she would say, and she was the only African-American district manager for this bank at the time. And then she hired me. And I was like her executive. And she said, people don't care about what you know. They want to know that you care.
Yes.
And I never forgot that. Another thing she would always say is, you can always tell the attitude of the manager by the attitude of the staff.
Yes.
And management and leadership are very, very closely aligned. And so I never wanted to be, whoever I am, I wanted to have people, followers, or people that I impacted out in the field that could speak highly of me, of what my leadership is about. So even in teaching, now they have a fancy word for practical teaching or real life experience, on the job training.
Yes.
They call it experiential now.
Yes.
And so what I've seen is leadership and entrepreneurship evolve over the years, and now being coined with these fancy little words, when I used to just call it practical knowledge or whatever. But I've always taught from what I learned in corporate and my experience, so that when the students or my young adults, my own young adults, are out there, they're not surprised.
Yes.
It's like, gosh, moms would say that, or Professor House would say that type of thing. So my teaching style is totally different from my peers.
I love that. I love that. I hear a consistent thread of authenticity, integrity, but then also preparation.
Yeah, what proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's always ringing in my ear.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So,
Uh-oh.
you are currently working on Doris's Secret,
Yes.
a parenting guide. Without giving away your secret, what's one truth about parenting that fundamentally changed your approach to leadership?
Don't believe the hype.
Okay. Explain.
I believe a lot of people are caught up in the thought of just getting married, the thought of being a parent, period. I think it's kind of like nouveau or whatever, you know. No, if you are not selfless, don't do it.
I agree.
And that's probably everything centered around that, because it's too great a responsibility for you to do it halfway. And I don't like doing anything halfway.
That's right.
That, I think people are just caught up of how it looks and not caught up of what it really takes to be what you need to be a parent. And that child is watching everything you do. So that would be what I would say.
I would say that also translates to leadership, right?
True.
Because to be selfish is not. Leaders can't be selfish.
They should
cannot.
No, they cannot. You should always think about who you're attempting, who your audience is, who you're speaking in front of. It amazes me even as I teach. I never, because when you look at faces, sometimes they're just staring at you and they're not, think they're paying attention or whatever. But then when I start getting the emails at the end, how much I impacted their life and they've actually applied some of the things that I recommended. And I'm literally looking at the name like, okay, I'm trying to remember the face with the name. Some of them, if they were, always talking or whatever, I got it. But the quiet ones, not necessarily so. So being in a position to be example all the time, not some of the time, even when you don't feel good. When you cross over into the class, when you cross over into the household, leave whatever you have gone through, just leave it there. Because you got to be on for the kids, you got to be on for the students, and not be like the world has you down or what have you. So
being present.
Being present
for all of your stakeholders.
Right. Absolutely. All the stakeholders, not just one stakeholder that may, be doing the most. But the ones that are not doing the most. All the stakeholders. And knowing who the stakeholders are.
That is important, yes.
Let's not miss that.
Yes, because if you have a mismatch between who your stakeholders are and what you perceive they need, you're not going to be successful.
Yes, absolutely. Leadership it's not easy. And it sometimes is lonely. But when you see the impact of the leadership, of the hard work, it's so gratifying. It is very gratifying that, okay, you got that. Wow. Or somebody repeats something that you didn't really think a lot about. It's like, wow, okay.
So let's stay there for a moment, because I heard you say leadership is lonely, and I agree with you. So there's also the weight of leadership. So between the loneliness and the weight of the responsibility, how have you navigated that, and what have you learned from it?
Only my faith in God, because sometimes when you have to make those hard decisions, there's nobody there that may be with you, but you know you've made the right decision, and then maybe even years later, it is proven that you did make the right decision. But at the time, it was not popular. Yes. Even as a mother, I can give the example of the sleepovers.
Okay. Yes, I was not a fan of sleepovers.
I didn't do the sleepovers, and that was not a popular decision in the household, even with my husband. But it's become very popular, And I was also what is considered the PTA president of Alicedale Middle School. Now we changed it to the Alicedale Community Association. And then other parents, will reveal that they're not a fan of the sleepovers. But one meeting with the principal to the community, he said, I'm a little tired of parents giving their authorization to have their children participate in sleepovers. He says, and then after the weekend's over, somebody's coming to my office because something happened that shouldn't have happened. He says, stop the sleepovers. He literally said that at a meeting. Yeah. Have them sleep in their own bed. Yeah. And that was not a popular decision that I was like, no, whatever the birthday celebration, I'll take you there. And if it's lasting late, 11 o'clock, I'll come pick you up. Sure. If it's continuing the next morning, we'll go back. And sure enough, after that, I've had a couple of, one was a situation with Joshua where, took him back. He says, Mom, you were right. When I got there, people were all upset, da-da-da-da-da. And so those type of decisions and knowing and standing firm on it, sure. Even decision-making, hard decisions as far as leaders or what have you, those become lonely. And you may not have anybody that joins you in that decision, but when you know that it's the right decision, you just got to stand on it.
Yes. All right. I love it. So you owned a brand expansion business with your husband. How did leading alongside your life partner teach you something about leadership that you couldn't have learned leading alone?
I believe leading along your life partner, you really have to respect the relationship of the life partner and what that really means. Even though my leadership and ambition may be off the chain, still being sensitive enough to accommodate where he is in it, which may not be at the same level, such that I'm not demeaning my partner, but being able to accommodate it as a joint relationship in that. I think oftentimes we as a strong, ambitious women want to carry that strong leadership in the role of corporate or whatever into the household, into the joint business. Yes. But I believe you have to meet people where they are. Yes. And accommodate their strengths. And understand what their strengths are, so that you can come together and shine together. And so forth, but being cognizant of that, and so forth. Because a person like me, I could easily run over somebody. And knowing that, I know that in certain situations and partnerships, you may need to pull that back. I'm not saying change who I am, but know who else can shine as well, and not being afraid to let them shine in their strengths.
So honoring everyone in both your personal and your professional. Yes. Being self-aware. Right. But also clearly aware of their gifts and the value that they bring to the situation.
And not being afraid to compliment and highlight those.
Absolutely.
I think that's very important. That's probably why I've been married, 32 years.
Congratulations.
It hasn't been easy. But it is what it is.
I love it. So tell me about co-founding Black Greeks, the networking and dating app. What intersection of personal experience and the market gap led you to this venture?
I have always kept my eyes open for a business deal. So I am Greek. I'm a Delta of 46 years. And so, there's 9 Black Greek organizations. Knowing the power of the app right now is very important. One of the business deals a lot of people view my profile on Howard's site. And one of the deals that I'm proud of is the Caris deal with the Apple Corporation. And so that was like the main tech introduction of the possibility of doing that business. We as Black Greeks, though we are connected in our chapters or what have you, we're not connected to each other too tough.
Okay.
As far as me being connected with Omega Sci-Fi or whatever. Unless there's some joint event planning that happens, of course. But as far as that true connectability, that really isn't happen. And so it's a movement in order to basically pull together, and I've done the research. One of my expertise is business plan writing. So I did the research. There's over 3 to 4 million Black Greeks all over the world.
Wow.
And so forth. And when you think of what it takes to become a Black Greek, a member of any of the Black Greek organization, you have to have gone to college. You don't have to have finished, but you have to have been there. And then pledge or go through membership intake or whatever. So there's already a threshold of commonality of vetting out to a certain extent. And for the most part, you know, these individuals are doing okay. Majority may be middle class. Not everybody may be active in their organization, but that doesn't mean it takes away from how they feel about the organization. So this was a way that has not been done, to focus on a niche, to pull a group of people together that has some common goals and so forth, and pull everything from buying power to events to what have you, to mentoring, to if you have a business, you know, being able to market through that. So it has a lot of avenues, options for Black Greeks, I would say. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. You, again, your innovative spirit, you saw a gap and you sought the opportunity to fill that gap.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to it really growing. It's going to be pretty exciting. A lot of people see it. They want to focus more on, we lead with networking.
Yes.
Okay? But you have a choice to do either or. Or so you can do both networking and dating. Or you're like, no, I'm married, and I'm happily married, I ain't trying to do that dating thing. Fine. You can just be on the networking side. But if you're available, it's like, okay, I want to do both. You know, you can do that. You have your choice. So you're actually setting up two flows and so forth. And I'm very pleased with the type of membership or users that are becoming a part, CEOs and people in criminal justice or it's so widespread. It's so widespread. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting.
So bringing people across the globe together around a common thing.
Absolutely. And what it has made me realize is the strength and the power among the 9 Black Greek organizations. I think after being a member for so long, you tend to take it for granted.
Yes. But
to see the accomplishments and the strength, you know, it's like, okay, this really does make sense, I would say, yeah.
I love that. And I wish you much success.
Thank you.
So you've been a business consultant for organizations like the Greater Washington Urban League, Howard University Small Business Development Center. What pattern did you notice in entrepreneurs of color that mainstream business was overlooking?
Our creativity. I believe we're overlooked as a people in general, but I relish in the underdog role. So there's strength in being an underdog because nobody sees you coming. Yeah. Not only are we creative, and I said this before, we're brilliant. When you go to that African American museum, it just says it all. We've been forced a lot of the times to figure out how we're going to eat. I mean, we can take it all the way back in our heritage. Yes. And so because of that, of course, now the fancy word in entrepreneur or management small business, I teach it to this, the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the trigger. I like to say you gotta eat.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta eat, and so forth. So because of that, we have been forced to be creative and make something out of nothing, and that's in our heritage.
It is.
You know, we can eat spaghetti and figure out how to make a meal out of meal or what have you, because that's what my mother taught me on a very low budget.
Yeah.
So those and we're smart.
Yes.
We're smart, but these are things that are not highlighted to us on purpose, intentionally, because we make everybody else rich, we make everybody else wealthy, and so forth. Yes.
So ingenuity. So being able to take something from an idea to implementation,
right,
is tremendous, not only in entrepreneurship but in leadership in general.
Absolutely, and being able to, I believe, being a visionary is important, or is a component of successful leadership. Being able to sit here and see, there's a need down there. Let me, and then figure out how you can put it all together. That excites me.
And to go back and forth between zooming out and then focusing in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. The short term versus long term.
Yes.
What needs to be done now, what needs to be done later.
Yes.
The roadmap. Yes.
So you mentioned earlier CARES International, and you've also been involved with some other venture capital organizations that focus on people of color in technology.
Right.
So as a professor who's also teaching this using various textbooks and other strategies, what's missing for us?
We're not there. I designed for my graduate students the executive MBA program. We brought on a company out of Johannesburg, South Africa. It was a design team. And I had the pleasure of working with the designers to create what was not there. So I took, the mainstream books are mainstream books.
Yes.
So I took a book from my colleague, Dr. William Rogers, the African American entrepreneur in the Trump era, and I intertwined it into the course. And then they had all the bells and whistles things coming out. That was probably the most fascinating thing that I was just so excited about. And that's something that I do. Yeah, I have a mainstream book. This is how the world does it. But it's a different story for us. We can't just go mainstream because it's always been a different recipe for us. And when you realize that, not saying it's an obstacle, but realizing what we have to do as a people to basically accomplish. So figuring out we're unique. What is it that how do we come into this picture and being able to bring that to the forefront? It goes back to Reverend Watley. Somebody says it. Add a little Afro sheen to it.
Yes, he does.
Take that little Afro sheen to it. So, and that's what I've been doing all along.
So I would imagine that sometimes that's not easy to teach, right? That especially if you haven't had that life experience.
That's
so
true.
if you've had a life experience where things have come fairly easy for you, your ability to navigate a pathway that doesn't look like somebody else's pathway can lead you in two different directions. Either you can just stop and sit down and can't move forward, or you can see other opportunities.
Right.
How do you teach that?
You have a room full of students from different economic pathways, different family structures. Some are from celebrity homes. They're very modest. Some are middle class families. Some, they're there because they just wanted to be there, and they are working 3 jobs. And so I have an open discussion type of class. I start with current events. but they can't just come with any type of current event. The current event has to be relative to where we are in the course. And or otherwise, because I'm be like, okay, what's your source? What are you applying this? So I'm big on application and critical thinking. When I hit the diversity chapter, it just goes boosh, because they are coming from different, and some of them have come from all Caucasian environments, and then some have come from lower class, from the hood or what have you. But when they start talking about their experiences, or one may be adopted and have two Caucasian parents. Yeah. So when I get them talking, then the emotion starts flowing. Then the others over here, they wake up and they hear this story. It's like, wait a minute, you said what? It's like, yeah. So the experience, we're not all in one, all alike. We're coming from different experiences. But then when they all share their stories, I bring them to an even place of why they're here and what they're here to achieve. So what do you see after you graduate? What type of environment? How do you see it impacted? How has your internships, your background, impacted your summer internships? Yeah. Let's talk about that. And it's always different. Yes. But once again, meeting the students where they are, bringing them forward as to where they are now, and then taking them into the future.
So what I hear in that is the through line of critical thinking skills. So it is essential for a leader, for an entrepreneur, to have critical thinking skills.
Absolutely.
And to have an environment, a space, a network to be able to develop that.
Right. The book is one thing, but I'm looking for, even day one, I have everybody introduce themselves, tell me where they're from, what their major is, and if we're coming off of the summer, did you do a summer internship? What was it like? And if they just give me what answers, then I start probing. Yes. And I like be honest. If you didn't have one, be sure you didn't have a summer internship. Just what did you do, and so forth. So at the day one, I'm getting to know who they are, because I'm constantly thinking, what guest speaker can I bring in that takes them to the next level? Yes. That can meet them where they are. And so forth, because I built a network of successful entrepreneurs. So I'm constantly thinking, as we talked in the hallway, and you brought up about the microaggressions, or I was like, oh man, you got to come to my class, because that's a need. And so I'm constantly, everywhere I go, I'm looking for how can I bring a new experience that the students can learn from, that will enhance their growth. Yeah.
So the conversation in the hallway you're talking about was a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Where we were at the incubator event. Right? So our version of a Shark Tank. Right. Why was it important for you to be there? I'm sure you have a schedule of your own. You got lots going on. This is your opportunity to take a break, during the semester.
And I wasn't feeling the best when I was there.
But you were there.
I was there because Sister Tanae Dolphin have been trying to get me to come on board. So I literally was a coach. I spoke December 6th to the cohort as a guest speaker, but it was very informal. And through some of those business owners or ideal creators, I could see a lot of their visions, and was able to just go boom, boom. So it was there, and she wanted, when she asked me to be a coach, she asked could I attend the celebration, and I looked at my calendar and I said that I would. So that's why I was there. I am a part of the program, and also the KITE, the youth program of entrepreneurship. I'm one of the leaders with that too. So yeah.
Why is it important for you to get involved with entrepreneurship?
If we don't, if we don't help each other, like it goes back to the very first question. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that this is one of the key components to building wealth. You don't see, if you're just an employee, and I'm not downplaying being an employee, somebody's got to do it. Everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. But if you have any inkling, just a small desire of doing something for yourself, I believe that you need to enter that space between being a franchise owner, doing your own thing, or buying an existing an existing business. Reverend Loxley in Faith and Finance brought up 40% of the baby boomers will be selling their business. So, and there's over 4,000 franchises out there. So that can meet the lifestyle. This is something that we can build legacy. We have to help each other. Yeah. This is my way of, even in my bio, of giving back. This comes easy for me. And so everything I've learned, I just give it. And whoever catches it, fine. If you don't catch any of it, fine. You know, but I want to share, and this is my way of doing so through entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So I want to go back just for a moment to something that I heard when you were talking about how you develop critical thinking skills with your students. The other thing that I garnered from that is communication skills. So you don't allow them to just give you a one-word response.
It's unacceptable.
And so what are some things that you do through your graduate and your undergraduate courses to build the communication skills for your future entrepreneurs and business leaders?
Everything is an open-ended question so that they can't say yes or no. Discussions. Bringing the curriculum to life, to real life that they can relate to, I would say. When they do give an answer, if it's not really comprehensive, then asking the probing questions, tell me more about that. And how does that relate to, you know, just continue to ask the question where it is a total answer where anybody can understand. So all of my classes are extremely discussion based. And a lot of them don't like that, but they sign up for me. So it's like, you must like something.
And so how does that translate to the opportunity to pitch your business to a venture capitalist, to go into an interview for a leading role, for an internship? How does that translate for them?
I like to say, you know, there's all types of pitch competitions that are out there. But a pitch is running in, it used to be called an elevator pitch, right? Yeah. So at Howard, you could run into a celebrity on campus or on the elevator or in the bathroom. So it's like, okay, there they are, what you gonna do about it? Yeah. You should know that business idea like in your sleep, even if you got to practice it while you're sleeping or whatever, that pitch for 30 seconds, whatever the case may be, and seize the moment. Are you going to let that opportunity go? You know that's a billionaire right there. You just going to let it go? No, you got to think quickly. Yeah. How are you going to get their attention? Yeah. And so at times I even have students that they introduce themselves and they say they have a business. So I said, do know that there's going to be an opportunity. I'm going to say, okay, it's your turn. Come up, pitch. Yeah. They're like, so no, pitch. Yeah. And they at first they're like, but then once they're there, they deliver. Yeah. So basically getting them comfortable in a conversation setting to seize the moment at any point in time. And I'm going after the most quiet one. Yes. You know, the one sitting in the front, you sitting in the front, I know you got it. But that one in the back, I'm like, I don't even know why you sat in the back, because I'm coming straight to you. So I'm like, it builds confidence. Yeah. The more you talk here, the more you're more confident. So I'm getting them ready for my guest speakers to come in. So by the time the guest speakers come in, they're not acting like they're scared. They're ready to talk and so forth because, and this is something I must admit that COVID did a job on our youth because they didn't really have to talk. Yes. So we have even seen a difference in the students since COVID and the challenges of comfort of them talking, feeling comfortable. So I am a career champion in the School of Business. So literally, you know, I bring the guest speakers in, I help to get them ready, I promote going to the sessions so they can, you know, okay, you have this bright idea, dream job that you want to get, but how about you do 20 interviews before you get to that one? So by the time you get that, you know, you interviewing them, you know, that type of thing. So yes.
And it is that confidence that engages others, right? So if you're quiet and shy, why would someone want to invest?
Exactly.
Because they can't see what their investment is going to grow.
Right. And a lot of the students are so caught up in achieving the 4.0 GPA that they don't want to deal with the conversation piece of interview. Oh, I'll wait. And then all of a sudden, up you're at the end of the semester or the end of the school year, and you haven't satisfied that, and you're going to have to go home and work that part-time job that you worked at high school. Yeah. When you could have, I was like, it's basically like you're in a boat with the two oars. You got to do the academic piece, but you got to do this other piece of fine-tuning your skills of being able to project, or not talk like that. No, this shows who you are, and so forth.
So you mentioned the career counseling. So after teaching career counseling with the focus on non-traditional careers, including entrepreneurship, how did helping others navigate their unconventional paths change your own relationship with risk-taking?
Ooh, I like to think of it as calculated risk. Initially. There are so many careers and industries that are not popular, okay? Owning a funeral home or whatever, which, by the way, goes down in our heritage because of the fact we were not allowed to be buried with Caucasians. So they helped us have the funeral homes so we can be over here. And a majority of the funeral homes now that are Black owned is because of way back when, decades ago, because we couldn't. Basically, especially during this time, I think it's important to look at careers that are not popular. And because there's a pathway there. What's the skill that's necessary in order to do so? I've never been one of those people that like to do what everybody wants to do anyway. So risk-taking would be, I would say, not going the full-fledged corporate way and taking the risks and owning it of entrepreneurship, even when it doesn't look pretty, even when, it sounds glamorous, but 90% of the time is not glamorous.
Especially in the first 5 years.
Exactly. And having gone through a closure of in the house or whatever and so forth, but owning that and asking myself, what did I learn from it that I would do differently, I would say. So the biggest risk now with me, I would say with the non-traditional, and I look at myself and think about in the house and all the other businesses that I've been a part of, I think the biggest thing I learned from that is the importance of relationship and networking. And not being afraid to build a network of people that know more than me.
That's good. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you need a new crew.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
That was not something that had been emphasized to me, I would say.
All right. So you have taught management of organizational behavior.
Yes.
So that particularly interests me because I have a doctorate in organizational leadership. So for your students, what is something that they need most in terms of their organizational behavior and management to help them be successful entrepreneurs and successful leaders?
With me being at one of the top HBCUs, my students have a tendency when they get in that environment, it's all that. And they get real comfortable. Not really realizing that in 4 years, they're going to have to face the world. Now, yes, they get the summer internships, but a lot of them frown against what they've been exposed to because it's not comfortable. So when they come back to campus, they're comfortable. So, and I teach majority upperclassmen. So I see a comfort level that has evolved when they become a junior and senior. Not realizing that you got to graduate.
Yes.
Okay, I have to constantly remind you, you have to graduate, and I'm sure your parents want you to be as independent as possible. Yes. So it's like, how do you take this comfortable African American young adult and now put them into a corporate environment where they're going to be in the minority?
Yes.
How are they going to survive? What's the sustainability? And that gap is what I'm concerned about. getting so comfortable that you may pick a bad habits
Yes.
and so forth. During this time, we have to be on top of our game. What does that look like? How do you feel comfortable in other spaces that don't look like you, even if they're a mixture of Asian or Caucasians or whatever? How does that make you feel?
Yes.
How? And I'm finding that they feel so comfortable in their environment that because they prefer to be in the environment with their own people, that they don't want to be in this other environment, and that works against them. How do you handle the microaggressions?
Yes.
How do you handle the lunchroom talk when it goes left? How do you handle a boss that's body language is or giving you smizing is or tapping you on your back or rubbing you on your back and when they're talking to you? How do you handle that? How do you handle somebody that a higher up that says, okay, I'm at home working because my children are sick. Let's have a dinner at my house after 5 because we need to finish this. How do you handle that? Now that you should see the faces when I bring up all these type of scenarios or what have you. So there's a lot to be communicated. I believe a lot of our guest speakers don't want to go that deep. A lot of my colleagues don't.
Sure.
They don't feel comfortable.
Yes.
But you are me.
Yes.
I am you at your age.
Yes.
So I'm not shy.
Yes.
And I could care less who's standing outside my door listening. Matter of fact, won't you come in and have a seat? Or so, but this is what they need.
Yes.
This is what they need. Because there may be, go ahead and work for that Fortune 500 and get some of the things that you have sacrificed for 4 years.
Yeah.
But don't make that your end all be all. Learn from it.
Yes.
That type of thing.
I love that. I love that. So as we wrap up our conversation, what are some last guidance or tips, advice that you might have for entrepreneurs who are starting or who are already in it?
Don't give up. Don't be afraid to build a network of someone that's already successful in entrepreneurship because they're transferable skills. It may not be the same industry, but they're transferable skills. How did they survive? Being passionate is key because when the money's not there, but you still gotta believe. You don't throw in the towel because it could be within the next week or something that the breakthrough comes. Though we see successful entrepreneurs once they become successful, but a lot of times when they tell their story, Tyler Perry, what have you, Oprah, whatever, you're like, oh, it wasn't all roses or whatever. Not everybody hits the ball out the park initially, but truly, if we are once again, we're brilliant as a people. Believe in yourself. Constantly read. Surround yourself with dreamers. Don't surround yourself with dream busters.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
I would say.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for taking this journey with us today. My guest was the wonderful, unstoppable Professor Cathy House. With her expertise in leadership, entrepreneurship, parenting, and in life. So stay tuned for her future projects, such as Doris's Secret, and Black Greeks.
Black Greeks.
So if someone wanted to find you, how could they get in contact with you?
I am on LinkedIn. Probably just have to search for my name. That's one of the platforms that I'm not on the most. Black Greeks. If you're part of the 9 Black Greek organizations, you can go to blackgreeks.com. You won't see me anywhere, but you you should probably like the website and sign up a profile. I'm at Howard University School of Business Management Department. I would say.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for this inspiring conversation, and thank you for the impact that you are making for future generations. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Whether you're stepping into leadership for the first time or reimagining what it means after decades in the field, I hope you've been inspired by our conversation today. Thank you for listening to MANN-O-LOGUES.